Then I was waiting. Because there's no guarantee I can get that. Then one day in the breaking room, I was having lunch with my coworker from a classmate. Well, actually, there were classmates from a class at the U I was taking, and we were chatting. And one of the guys said, "Hey, Wanza, how's the job hunting?" I said, "Yeah, good news. I got a job offer. Bad news, I need a visa, and there's no guarantee I can get it." He said, "Hey, maybe you should contact Keith Ellison." I said, "Who's Keith Ellison?" He said, "He's a congressman, represent your district, basically the district where the apartment I rented was." And he said, "I know, I have a buddy worked for him during the campaign, so I'll give you contact." I said, "I appreciate it, but how would he even care, for a foreign worker that doesn't have a right to vote? And he has to take care of, I don't know, tens of thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands of people in his district. But there's nothing to lose, so I got the number, I called, nobody answered, I left a message. A couple days later, I got a call from his office saying, "Do you want to meet? Why don't you come to our office, talk about this?" So I went there, and I never saw him. As his assistant, we sat down, write down my situation, what do I need, and he was really nice and said, "I'll see what we can do." I didn't put too much faith in it. Then in the middle of May, this is after all, I was waiting for the visa approval, and I got a letter from Keith Ellison's office saying, "We just sent a letter to the immigration office in Bloomington, and we'll try our best." And a week later, I got my visa approved.
Wow.
A week later, I started working with Tronic ever since. So the lesson read from this, I figure, is first, just do what you have to do. Put one leg in front of another before you worry about next step. 2, don't be afraid to ask people for stuff if that's important to you, important to family. But do the same, return the favor when people ask you. So I have been active volunteering ever since. I think the best part is now when sometimes I hear Keith Ellison on the radio talk about politics, blah blah blah. It's not just another politician anymore. I don't know how many pieces of legislature he passed or how many other people he helped, but I know he helped me. He didn't have any. There was almost nothing in it for him because I didn't have right to vote. So if a politician can help a foreign worker with no right to vote, what excuse I have not to help myself and other people? So this is a challenge for you. Just do something today. Be a mentor. Be a coach. Or sign up for next Toastmaster speech. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you for inspiring us.
another minute to fill out the evaluation form. Son, how long were you over in the U.S. before you had to apply for all the visas and just like a couple months?
No, I need a visa all the time, but I had a student visa before when I was in graduate school. Then after that, I got a H-1B visa, but it's only good for school. If you have to work for a company, you have to apply for a new visa.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course the law changes every time, right?
Wow, it's amazing. Really.
No, but a lot of people just, I was lucky. I was the lucky one. A lot of people just didn't get it. Yeah.
Now must be much more difficult now, given this
More
part,
difficult?
job market. So.
No, actually, visa is not more difficult just because the job market is so
That's
bad.
you have to together. You have to have the job offer.
Yeah. But that's also tough for Americans.
Right.
Easy for you though. Everybody wants one.
Well, we're glad that you're here, and I'm glad things worked out. I'll give you about 30 more seconds. And we will have a second speech today. Maggie Batten has graciously stepped forward to be our second speaker. And
Wow.
I'm wondering if I could ask for a volunteer to evaluate Maggie's speech. Somebody that doesn't have a duty, maybe.
Am I doing your speech?
Oh, let's see.
Because it looks like the other one, the other evaluator is open.
I had signed up for the second evaluator at the last minute, so
Did you?
so I can do Maggie's speech.
Oh, okay. So, John, you're going to evaluate
Is someone
me?
filling out your book?
No.
Oh, okay.
Before you introduce Maggie, would you like me to go through the objectives for Maggie's speech?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
please, thank you.
So this is Maggie's project number 4, how to say it. The objectives are to select the right words in sentence structure and to express ideas vividly. Also to use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas and to eliminate jargon and unnecessary words. So as you go through the evaluation, you can concentrate on those points.
Thank you, John. Okay, let's wrap up our evaluations. And at this time, I would like to introduce our second speaker, Maggie Batten. Thank you once again for stepping up. And I know Maggie does an excellent job as treasurer for our clubs. This is the second year in a row, right, Maggie? Okay, great. And her title of her speech is, wrote it down, How to Become a West Point Cadet. Please join me in welcoming Maggie.
Lonside gave me the inspiration because when he was talking about the element, my thought drifted to an experience that I went through, actually my son went through, when he applied to colleges. And this was 6 years ago. And I think I'll group it this way. It's the decision to go, the process, and then the decision, which is their decision. My son Brad, throughout high school and throughout his growing years, was very energetic. He was one of those kids that didn't sleep very much. Didn't appear to need very much sleep at all, even from toddlerhood. As he grew, he was into young adulthood. He was interested in things like army playing and hide and go seek, and some of the other intellectual games that required a lot of analytical thought processes. He also, I thought, was conservative for a child. And when it became time to look at colleges, we went through the normal routes of visiting college campuses, and he also talked with a West Point recruiter at one of his high school recruiting fairs, and the recruiter actually was very capable and very persuasive, and he got my son to look at joining West Point and or applying into the military. And it's any of the branches. The application process actually starts out in the summer of prior to his junior year. And the application process is an extremely long process, one that we learned a lot from, and one that I'm not sure that I could go through twice because it did take such a long period of time. It was an endurance test, really, because when you're applying to colleges, you have the application, you have the interview, and then the decision is made. When you make a decision to serve Uncle Sam, the process is much longer. It's about 3 times as long and literally 3 times as difficult. So he ran a parallel process throughout in the application process. He applied to regular colleges as a backup, and then he went through the West Point process, which entailed, first of all, a visit to the recruiter's office. And there he got the whole 9 yards about what it was that he was getting into, and then he had to choose one of the armed services, whether it was West Point, Annapolis for the Navy, Air Force in Colorado, and then there was a merchant marine that we weren't very sure of what that was all about, but his focus was either Air Force or West Point. This process, as I said, is not for the somnambulator. His first set of interviews was with the recruiter, as I said, and then a very lengthy application process that entailed numerous references and several writing components as well. He was also granted interviews with members of Congress that represented Minnesota, Betty McCollum in particular, and he also interviewed with Norm Coleman, senator. And both of them he thought were very interesting folks. They each spent at least an hour and a half with him, just talking to him and finding out what his purpose and what his real drill was, and why he wanted to go through